II previously, and I'll link obviously the playlist where you can check out all of these videos up until this point, so you can keep refreshed and keep up to date with the facts, because they kind of bleed into one another. So, what can we learn about Richard the First, or Richard the Lionheart? So he lived from the 8th of September 1157 to the 6th of April 1199, and he reigned from the 6th of July 1189 to the 6th of April 1199 when he died. So despite being one of England's more famous kings, Richard I, Richard the Lionheart, actually spent less time in England than any other English monarch, and his wife, Berengaria of Navarre, was the only Queen of England never to visit the country. How very, very interesting. He was a lean, mean fighting machine with his own army by the age of 16. Wow, what an achievement. As soon as he became king, he headed off on the Crusades, but on his way I can't actually print to see that. On his way back, the text is white and it's against white, so it's really hard to read. So, as soon as he became king, he headed off on the Crusades, but on his way back, he was captured and imprisoned. So, what can we learn further about him? So, Richard I has had his own army by the age of 16 and took the supposedly untakeable fortress of Taylorburg when he was just 22 and went on to become a hero of the Crusades. As a young man, he was also involved in rebellions against his father, Henry II, supported by his forceful mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, and in league with King Philip of France. So Richard must have inherited his mother's strong will and strong disposition. So Richard grew up in Aquitaine and was probably his mother's favourite son. But unlike his older brother, the Henry the Young King, he just didn't get on with his father. When Henry II died, it was said that his nose bled in Richard's presence, a sure sign that Richard was responsible for his death. I told you it was stress-related. Richard did come to England for his coronation at Westminster Abbey, but immediately afterwards started his preparations for the Third Crusade. This was a fight against the Muslim forces of Saladin, who were controlling the city of Jerusalem. So he wasn't really bothered about being king, was he, really? He was more interested in fighting the Crusades. On his way to the Crusades, Richard married Berengaria, daughter of the King of Navarre. So he thought, wow, multitasking. So on his way he married, and he didn't even bother to stop what he was doing to get married. He was just doing everything all at once. Okay. So things started out well for Richard and the other Christian leaders of the Third Crusade, but before long they were all squabbling amongst themselves. In the end, neither side was making any real progress, knights were forced to make a truce with Saladin. By this time, Richard was anxious to get home as he knew the King of France and his own baby brother John were plotting against him. And so you would if your king is out of the country. Now, I remember most of this history from the Disney version of Robin Hood with the fox and the lion, and I wonder if I can actually get it up for you, because I used to watch this so much as a kid. So, Robin Hood Disney. I used to watch this on repeat as a kid. I used to absolutely love it, and I used to love all of the songs. And it's so nostalgic for me. And you know how you just learn more through like entertainment, and just silly like things that you pick up. Most of my knowledge of King Richard the Lionheart and King John was from this Robin Hood, and it's so great. I love that film so much. But anyway, back to real life. So his own baby brother John were plotting against him, but luck had turned against Richard, and on his way home his ship was wrecked. Forced to travel across land, Richard entered the territory of Duke Leopold of Austria. Now, Duke Leopold wasn't Richard's biggest fan, as Richard had been rude to him while they were all fighting in the Holy Land, so he had him captured and thrown into prison. So, moral of that story is be nice to people, because you don't know when you're going to need them. Richard was stuck in prison for 15 months, and when he was finally released, he quickly returned to England, where he found his younger brother John had been spending all the royal money and planning to take the throne. But Richard didn't have much time to hang about in England, however, as his overseas lands were once again under threat, so he had to cross the channel yet again. While fighting in Limousin, France, in 1199, Richard was hit in the shoulder by an arrow. He pretended it was nothing and kept fighting for another couple of days, but then the wound started to fester. In the end, it wasn't the arrow, but the infection which killed the Lionheart. Richard was buried at Fontevraud Abbey, Abbey, beside his father, although the heart of the lion was taken out and buried separately at Rouen. Again, moral of the story is don't be brave, and don't just shrug off being hit by an arrow because you want to appear hard and macho. Just get that looked at, because it will kill you. So, thrown under threat. When Richard I was imprisoned by Duke Leopold of Austria, no one knew where he was. According to legend, one of his most faithful minstrels, named Blondel, wandered across Europe singing a song that he and the king had composed together. After months of wandering and singing, Blondel eventually passed under Richard's window and heard the king's voice as he joined in with the song. He had discovered the location of the Lionheart. I'm not really sure about that. You know, that's a beyond a needle in a haystack situation there. Okay, so let's have a look at the painting. Right, so instead of a front portrait, we have a rear view of Richard the Lionheart, and quite rightly so, because he always had his back to England. He was always off doing something, looking ahead. So here we have a very striking portrait. Look at those glutes. the shield, and even to this day we have this 3 lions on our some of our town emblems, town shields. I'm not really sure what you call it. So my hometown definitely has this 3 lions thing. And if you look at 3 lions, actually, let's put my internet to the test here. Let's do 3 lions in football. You'll see here 3 lions. You can see. So this is England's national, is it a flag? I honestly don't know what it is. There's a stupid song as well. I'm not really sure what it means. So yeah, the earliest surviving representation of an escutcheon or shield, sorry for pronouncing that wrong, displaying 3 lions is that on the Great Seal of King Richard I, which we're looking at now, which initially displayed 1 or 2 lions rampant, but in 1198 was permanently altered to depict 3 lions passant, perhaps representing Richard I's principal 3. And then so it's the Royal Arms of England. I've gone about that very convoluted. I'm sorry. So it's the Royal Arms of England. So, Royal Arms of England. He's wearing a cool helmet here. Long cape. No capes. And a humongous sword. And I read somewhere that these long swords, or are they broadswords? I'm not really sure, were as long as a man. The length was about 6 foot, and you had to have severe strength to wield them. Maybe I can do a history lesson on the swords. That might be really interesting, or even the shield. Oh, there's just so much I wanna share with you guys. I'm such a history nerd. Right, so let's look at the timeline, shall we? So in 1157, Richard is born. In 1189, Richard succeeds to the throne. In 1190, Richard joins the Third Crusade. In 1192, Richard is captured on his way back from the Crusades. In 1194, Richard is released and returns to England, and in 1199, Richard dies. So we've already looked at Henry II, we looked at Eleanor of Aquitaine, his mother, we looked at Henry the Young King, his brother, and we also looked at Geoffrey, his brother, and John is what we're going to be looking at next. So, who is his brother too? So, let's look at the quiz. Question 1 of 4. Richard I's wife never came to England. Was this true or was this false? I'm going to say it was true. Correct. Richard I's wife, Berengaria of Navarre, was the only Queen of England never to visit the country. Seems a little bit odd, so I wonder if they actually consummated their marriage and had children, because he was so busy all the time and she never came to England. It was how did they procreate, for lack of a better word. Alright, question 2 of 4. In which year did Richard I join the Third Crusade? Was it 1520? Was it 1300? Was it 1190? Or was it 1066? So 1500 is way too far in the future. Again with 1300. 1066, we're in the past, so I'm going to go for 1190. Correct. Richard I left for the Third Crusade in 1190. Next question. Question 3 of 4. IV, who was plotting against Richard while he was away fighting in the Crusades? Was it his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine? Was it his brother John? Or was it his wife, Berengaria of Navarre? Well, it was his brother John, because Disney told me so. Correct. Richard I's little brother John was plotting against the king while he was away from England. Next question. Question 4 of 4. Richard I died when an arrow wound became infected, but where did the arrow that killed him hit? Was it in the leg, in the chest, in the shoulder, or in the neck? Well, I'm going to go for in the shoulder. Correct. Richard I was shot in the shoulder by an arrow, the infection from which later killed him. Get that checked out. So we got 4 crowns out of 4. So that is Richard I, also known as Richard the Lionheart, and we are going to move next on to John, King John, and it's the Sheriff of Nottingham and all of that stuff, I believe. So, at least I think so. So, thank you so much for listening. I also wanted to ask you a question. If there are any kings or monarchs that you are particularly interested in and would like me to go further into the history and their reign and rule, rather than just this very brief, broad overview, then please let me know down in the description. Because there are so many facts about each of these kings or monarchs I should say, that we can delve into much more deeply. For instance, I feel like the ladies always get left out because they're not necessarily monarchs or rulers or kings. For instance, this Eleanor of Aquitaine sounds like a real badass, and I really want to know more about her. So maybe that could be an idea. So yes, please let me know if there's any of these people you would like me to go into more depth about. I can make like a nice presentation and we can go through it together. So thank you very, very much for listening, guys. I really hope you found this to be informative as well as relaxing.